A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and here we are again with some more super foam flying. But now it seems like we're going to be taking a few steps ahead. Quite a few steps ahead, because whether you could probably imagine a lot of blasters out there that are much larger in size, I will admit I've had quite a few that I've talked about. There was of course things out there like the rivals Jupiter and Saturn, the Elite Infinus, as well as, well, tons of other things out there. But if I had to pick probably the biggest blaster I've ever had to handle from the Mega lineup, well, here it is. The Mega AccuStrike Thunderhawk. Sounds like quite a big upgrade over the Alpha Hawk, which was also part of the Alpha Strike series, which is not relatable to the AccuStrike series. No, AccuStrike is what it is, not Alpha Strike. So, I don't know why that keeps becoming an issue, but anyways. An AccuStrike Alpha Hawk compared to this, a Mega Blaster that seems to try to be a little ways better than that of the Centurion, which was at the time the oldest Mega Blaster, the first Mega Blaster, and probably the longest Nerf blaster that was ever around at the time. But when you think about it, Hasbro was really looking forward to try and create their own longest blaster in existence, and this might as well just be it, because, well, one of the prime gimmicks of this blaster is an extending barrel. It looks pretty strange though for something like this. I can't really be sure why they couldn't, well, put on some sort of like shutter or something that you can probably open up just in case, or just something right here, because with the barrel extended, it doesn't really look very appealing to me. Yeah, I mean, that's strange, wouldn't you say? To be able to look through something like this. I mean, otherwise, another thing about the Centurion is that, well, I mean, of course, going back to the barrel real quickly, at least you don't have to worry about the barrel being a permanent extension. Like, when you think about the Centurion, the fact that it had a permanent barrel attachment, this one does at least have quite a bit of an upgrade where you can extend the barrel just by doing that. And you can always collapse it too. You don't have to worry about it being too long for the wall or anything else. I tell you, I've done a lot of work on this wall, really making sure to accommodate as many of my blasters as possible. Again, another thing though is an integrated bipod, which clicks like so. So of course, it's much more sturdy in comparison to the Centurion's bipod. And when you really think about it, you can really plant this thing down on a lot of surfaces and you won't have to worry about it collapsing on you if you're trying to aim downwards. If you're trying to aim upwards though, then well, that's what could potentially happen. So maybe don't aim upwards with the bipod activated. And if there's a third thing, well, the cocking mechanism is a whole lot shorter. Yeah, I mean, that's 3 big points right there. 3 main reasons why you should own a Thunderhawk instead of a Centurion. And I've owned both blasters, but the Centurion was still a pretty good blaster for at least trying to gain a good start. However, it did not do so well in the marketplace and according to many people who bought it. I myself have had a few problems with that thing as well, trying to handle it and all that. But again, the usage of a barrel that you can extend and collapse, even though it does not look cool at all, pretty much, when in extended mode. You also have an integrated bipod that does not collapse nearly as easily as the Centurion's, but of course is a permanent attachment, so don't really expect this thing to, well, come in handy if you're trying to disassemble it for the most part. But at least it's a little more compact in a way compared to the Centurion's, which was kind of bulky. And then of course, well, the bolt is a lot shorter, just a few inches pretty much, which is pretty much all you need. The ergonomics in this blaster are pretty amazing. And of course, when you really come to think about it, compared to the Centurion's bolt action, well, it basically comes in 2 little pegs, whereas this, well, This is kind of a standard issue sort of thing, where it's almost like a screwdriver rod. But it comes with a little thread on top, so instead of, well, clicking it into place, you get to thread the other end in, like so. So this is yet another big upgrade right here, because I've remembered all the times where I've had to, well, thrust the peg inside the Centurion's sides, only to eventually find out that they break off easily. Maybe because the internal parts of the blasters where the bolts are supposed to connect, they were probably poorly designed. But in this case, this is way better, the way I see it. But of course, if there's actually at least one major flaw about this, then well, even with the barrel completely collapsed, the bipod completely folded, and the rest of the things completely assembled together, it is pretty large in size. Like, I've talked about how big the Infinus is, I've talked about how big the Ghoul Grinder is, which, as you can see right here on the right side there, I've talked about a few blasters being pretty large in size, including the Raptor Strike and Alpha Hawk. But this, of course, being, well, a sniper rifle, it does probably have to be long in some way, just to at least appear much like a sniper rifle in any way. So, again, it's pretty darn bulky. Its size and its weight is also a little questionable in a way. I wouldn't really say that it's like top heavy in certain areas, but I would go as far to claim that this blaster might have a little bit of front heaviness, but at least you can get a good balance off of it when you get a feel for it. It's more of something that you could probably get used to over time. Then, of course, well, I mean, the stock right here, it's still pretty appropriately built to at least make it comfortable as possible. But if there's one other flaw out there, it would be the magazine. This magazine is also kind of an upgrade over the Centurion, as having 10 chambers instead of only 6. So you could fit 10 darts into this clip instead of just 6. But let's show the flaw that's associated with this. Have you noticed it already? Yeah, look at this. That is, wow. Like, look at that. Yeah, that too, actually. The way that it sounds when going through, it's kind of satisfying, though, but it is very loud. Just hearing all those clicks. Like, how on earth can people not find this annoying? Of course, it's very difficult for me to feel irritated about this kind of stuff, so you know what? I'm one of the only exceptions from this, but, like, seriously, why is this magazine so long? Like, even if you were to, like, put it in the middle, how... I will admit for sure that I was never truly able to get this to fit on the wall just the way I needed it to. I wanted this to not be there because this is so long. This is well over a foot in length, by the way. So this is probably the biggest flaw of this blaster, the way I see it. Coupled with the bulky size and coupled with a few other things that are probably mostly on an aesthetic proportion, the magazine here is probably the fatal flaw. And that probably is one of the main reasons why a lot of people did not want to go ahead and pick up a Thunderhawk or give it some more positive reviews in conjunction to other mega blasters of any sorts that are like this in a way. But you know what though? I'm just gonna suck it up because it's time to fire this thing. So, as you can see, yeah, it basically fires just as you expect, with the chamber being automatically loaded into the next slot where the next dart is located as the clip begins to shift to the right. Like so, pretty much. And then of course you just fire off another dart, just like that. Oh no. Is that a misfire? Huh. Alright, here we go. There we go. I guess that will probably do pretty much because, well, I don't know about you, but I might have to go ahead and try a technique that I managed to discover on this thing where, yeah, there's a couple latches that seem to go out under here where you can basically, well, it's somewhere on here. Usually I typically use a little thing like a screwdriver or a tip of a pen, and that can usually help in removing this clip. So I would show it, but unfortunately I don't have something like that on me right now, so I apologize for that. But I will say at least that while this blaster has a lot of merits in it that make it even better than the Centurion, quite a big upgrade in just 5 years. We waited quite a while for Nerf to pretty much bring back a mega sniper in a certain way, but in this particular case, it probably only goes so far. So I feel like that with a lot of the things put into play, the cons about this blaster primarily are what's going to pretty much drop the score down to a little bit lower than what you might expect from someone like me. And as a result, well, Mega AccuStrike Thunderhawk. A blaster with a clip that's very similar to that of the Modulus Battle Scout, or perhaps, well, many other blasters like this. And then of course we gotta remember that it has an integrated bipod, an integrated barrel that you can extend out like this, but it's not really aesthetically presentable by any means. But I guess I wouldn't mind. It's at least not a Centurion barrel where it's like a permanent extension slash attachment. And on top of all that, with many other big merits that are put into place, including somewhat comfortable, decent ergonomics, and then of course a much smaller prime extension, well, sorry thing that's going to put into place, and then, well, many other things put into this, and of course the cons, including the very bulky size in this clip. Overall, when it comes to giving a score, I'd say I'm only giving it a 6.3 out of 10. So it's quite a bit better in most ways than what you might think, because there are a lot of big parts about it that are even better than what you think of when it comes to mega sniper rifles. But this one right here is probably still something that Nerf could probably do a little more work on as a way to optimize a mega sniper for your convenience. If you are in fact a fan of mega blasters over many other blasters, then well, looking for a sniper rifle only comes in so many ways. The Centurion being the first of its kind ever in existence, as a sniper rifle and as a mega blaster for the most part. It tried, but yet it failed in a lot of ways. While the Thunderhawk was a huge update, but yet it still is. Something that we'll definitely need to have some more work on before eventually we could have something good. Very good, actually. It's still a decent blaster if you're really looking for something that can be in this exact proportion. Otherwise, well, all we have to do now is just wait. Maybe they will come out with more things like this in the future. Hopefully. But that's probably going to cut it for today, and I will be back with some more content like this. But until then, if you want to see more go down on my channel, then make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.